Hey everybody, and welcome to a whole new chapter in the exciting Falcon Suffers anthology here. As you can see, today we're going to be playing Pocky and Rocky for Super Nintendo. In the character select screen, we have two choices of either choosing a talking, walking, swagging raccoon, or a little Japanese girl. It looks anything but Japanese, but that's usually the case when it comes to anime and manga and theme and whatever other things you want to go with here. This game, by the way, FYI, a little bit of a fun fact for you, is actually based on actual events and true history from feudal Japan. So I figure, you know, might as well go with the girl. It's a little bit more realistic, right? A raccoon that talks and walks, a little bit far-fetched in reality, so whatever. Here we're gonna have a little bit of an introduction to the story and whatnot. I have my own theory about this story, by the way. I feel like it's a very tongue-in-cheek, like they left it kind of open-ended for you to kind of decipher. Here you're finding out that, you know, apparently Pocky, the little Japanese girl that looks anything but Japanese, was the one who thwarted a whole sort of, I guess, revolt by the, Noblin goblins, or whatever the hell they're goblins. They're all apparently cycloptic, by the way. Either way, she's the one who thwarted that thing, and then you have this, and everything was fine, everything was happy in the world, in the land of, Pocky and Rocky. But one day, apparently, quote-unquote, there was a big revolt by the goblins, and they started acting up all weird. This raccoon that talks, by the way, right there alone should give you an indication as to what's happening here. Comes and tells, you know, pretty much the military dictator of this feudal Japan era, Pocky, that, you know, there's gonna be, like, suddenly a little revolt when the goblins, they're no longer, you know, paying attention and yada yada yada. Well, you know what, in reality, if you ask me, Pocky is the real dictator here. I think those goblins were just basically trying to revolt against her oppressive rule, and this raccoon is anything but her spy into the whole, Nobino goblin, world and whatnot. That's why he's over here kind of like, you know, hey, by the way, Pocky, your, military rule is kind of being, like, you know, challenged by these goblins, and it's kind of like, you know, it'd be like modern day, like, I don't know, let's go with, Fidel Castro in Cuba and communism. I mean, if you're Cuban or communistic in nature and, you know, you feel that, that's offensive or anything like that, I apologize, but that's what I'm taking it as a lowly American pig that really kind of makes, doesn't really think once or twice about what he says. That's why a lot of people hate us and whatnot, which is fine, understandable why people do. Either way, though, we're gonna start off the game here. Apparently that goblin just popped up and said, surprise bitches, that he's holding like a bowl of Cocoa Puffs and whatnot here. At the start of, when you start up the game here, the game kind of works a little bit as a, I don't know, let's say, Gradius almost. Like, it's kind of like a little bit of a quasi-shoot-em-up, you know, obviously you beat stuff down, you get little power-ups for it. This right here was my favorite. I couldn't even get this power-up, so it was a great, amazing pathing already from the start, because I'm over here like, well, you know what, all I really wanted to do was actually just get that power-up. Thanks a lot, game. Thanks for screwing me out of that. The controls are a little bit intricate, or not intricate, but a little bit interesting, if I should say, if anything. Because of the fact that, essentially, there's a shoot button, and then there's another button that just makes you shoot automatically all the time, like I'm doing so right now. By the way, did you see that fucking skeleton bone roaming through that rain? Yeah. That's really kind of an asshole move, isn't it? Like, you can't even see the projectiles coming at you. Over here, Master Roshi apparently popped up out of nowhere. Apparently, I think I shot that frog, and Master Roshi decided to come out and drop some power-ups for me. So I figure at some point or another this game has some sort of link to Dragon Ball Z as well, which is cool. I mean, I grew up with Dragon Ball Z. Nothing interesting about that. It's Japanese anyway, so I'd figure, you know, it goes hand in hand. What's really weird about me is that Pocky refuses to actually use an umbrella for Molto's character. They're kind of jumping over there. Like, the bushes are literally throwing umbrellas at her to use, and she refuses to do so. Instead, she just kind of whacks him off with her stick. By whacking him off with her stick, I know it sounds really, perverse in mind, but it's really not meant to be that way. Over here, apparently, the fucking pillars that light the night walkway of the Japanese feudal area are coming to life and attacking Pocky. So, you know, and basically it's a no-holds-barred type of thing going on over here. I don't even know what to say about this game, really. It's a fun game. I mean, let's not go wrong about that. It's a really fun game. It's actually a lot better than I expected it would be. Especially since most of the times when we do these personal challenges, you know, we're just kind of trying to pick the most horrible game for one another to actually play. So on this one in particular, it wasn't that bad, honestly. Here, this little area kind of perturbed me to a degree, though, because we have all these, you know, cycloptic, bald, you know, quote-unquote pedophiles just coming after Pocky, which, you know, essentially makes a really great theme and setup for, you know, How to Catch a Predator, Chris Hansen. Speaking of Chris Hansen, look at this fucking guy. What I like is how he kind of introduces himself to the battle. Haha, I am your adversary. It's like, who even fucking does that? Like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you fucking play Final Fantasy 3 or something, you know, Kefka comes out with his little ha 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 ha, whatever it is that he does. But you know he's a bad guy just because he attacks you or he does like, terrible fucking things. This guy literally comes over here and he advertises himself as an adversary, which is kind of really weird. It's like, hey, by the way, I'm your enemy, idiot. Like, I guess like the game didn't give us enough credit as, young children, say young adults. I'm a young adult now, but this game was in 93 or something, 92, 94, 95, some degree like that. So obviously when we're little kids, it's kind of like, by the way, you're supposed to beat down this Cocoa Puff monster here, who, by the way, seems to be kind of just wasting precious Cocoa Puffs for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why Pocky over here is just kind of batting these away and whatnot. But either way, after you do that, you'll go ahead and beat down the Cocoa Puff monster. You'll beat him down, and then what I'd like to do, especially with games that give you like free walking after you beat an enemy, is just kind of slide around, just kind of fuck around. It's kind of like Castlevania, essentially, where, after you beat a monster, you can kind of jump around before you actually pick up the red orb that drops from the sky and whatnot. I know I'm going a little bit old school on that fact, but either way. So, once you beat down the monster and everything like that, apparently he quote-unquote comes to his senses, or what I like to say, he's just been fucking oppressed again, and now he's gonna probably be sent to some sort of fucking camp where he's gonna be like, retooled and remodeled for like, obedience training and whatnot, because that's what Pocky and Rocky strive for. His story in particular is really interesting. He mentions that it was about last night, and they were all having a party and whatnot. There's a little bit of sake probably in those little, bowls or cups or whatever you want to call them. You have the Boo monster from Super Mario Brothers over here just kind of going crazy. Look at it, he's got that smile on his face. That, to me, he's even blushed at the face, meaning to me that he's having a good night. Then suddenly, this fucking black cloak figure shows up and shoots lasers at him. My theory, that is fucking Rocky in there. Rocky is a shape-shifting raccoon, and he came over there to oppress these guys, pissed them off, then he goes over to Pocky like, hey, by the way, they're trying to have a revolt. I think in reality, Rocky's the real villain here, and he's kind of like the one instigating this whole revolt because he wants change in reality, but he doesn't have the balls or the intestinal fortitude himself. So, we're gonna come up with this whole theory about who is the Black Mantle and yada yada yada. I have more on this, believe me. We're gonna cut off the episode here because it's a good cutoff point, but we'll start up next time, guys.